Have you seen this, Austin? Telltale Games is back.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can believe that.
Really?
Yeah,
This was a shock to me.
What? They mentioned this like last year or something.
No, this is brand new. This just came out last week.
Yeah, someone bought them and then they're gonna finish out the season for The Walking Dead.
No, that's not. That was just The Walking Dead. They bought The Walking Dead. Skybound bought The Walking Dead, but didn't buy Telltale. So
They're
somebody
still employed,
has,
aren't they?
huh? No, they only took a few of them. Yeah. So last year when Telltale Games got shut down, Skybound bought the rights to the Walking Dead license game, Telltale Walking Dead game, and then they hired on X number of employees, like 20 or 30, to come and help finish out the season. And then that was that. They finished it. It's done. It's out in the world. And then they do have the license, so they might continue to build that. But Telltale Games as a company, that game was no longer under the Telltale Games label. It was under the Skybound label. So now this group of people who are unrelated to anything in major gaming industry decided we're going to buy the name Telltale Games and revive the studio and bring it back because we think that there's still a place and room for adventure games. So they picked it up, and it's two guys that started their company called LCG Entertainment that acquired the license as well as the back catalog, which includes The Wolf Among Us, as well as I think it also includes, like, I forgot what other license it included. There's two particular ones. We're not sure about like the heavily licensed ones like Game of Thrones and, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that. But they went out there, they bought it, and they're bringing it back up again. The problem is, so they've done a couple of things. They moved to Malibu as the headquarters. That's 400 miles away from where it was before. And they put out an offer out there to hire back the employees of Telltale, which was 250 employees. However, because there's a scrappy new studio now, they can't afford to pay anybody full time, so they're allowing to hire them back as freelance exclusively for now until they can drum up the ability to then build a new studio. So their goal is to have like 30 employees by the end of next year or something like that, 30 or 40 employees working on new adventure games in the Telltale series, but they're focusing heavily on their technology and just building the studio out again. One key person they did bring back in full time was the former director of operations at Telltale Games, who her job at that point was to work with like licensing and stuff like that with Telltale. Now she's going to be basically, her job is to rebuild the internals of the company and make it happen. So like from everything from like hiring new people, you know, getting the game started, working with different hires to bring them all in, buying the toilet paper, you know, like all the things to like build out the inner workings, the operations of the studio.
Right.
So they got it back. And then some people are super excited and have signed on the freelance basis because they were working freelance anyway. So it's like it was the right time, right time, right place. But others are kind of like upset. Some are kind of like, this is weird. I don't know what to think about this, especially the way that it got shuttered. So it's an interesting thing. Like, I'm excited, I think, but the background that these two have is interesting. So it's the two guys that founded it, James Ottilie and Brian Waddle. And Ottilie has spent most of his career in mobile games. So he has a background. He was founder and CEO of Galaxy Pest Control, best known for licensed games based on Duck Dynasty and Power Rangers. Nothing super exciting there. Waddle's experience includes running sales and marketing for the Havoc games engine, which is a pretty cool thing. Like that's a big deal. But neither worked at Telltale prior to that. Wolf Among Us and Batman, those are the ones that they got the licensed properties back to. So those could come out.
Very nice.
And then they're looking at getting some of the others. The only one they won't get is The Walking Dead because that's now owned by Skybound. But it's interesting. Like, I didn't expect this to happen. For somebody to just like pick it up and be like, oh, let's bring it all back. Like, this whole story has just been, somebody should make a documentary about all this.
I mean, it's really weird. I'm sure this happened before, but not to my knowledge. And I mean, it's great. But yeah, like they have to go super slow, come back from normal. Like they have the same clout, or they're going to go into the industry with the same clout they had prior to it being disbanded. But
Yeah.
how do you recover? Like, yeah, a lot of things have to change, but how do you keep it? I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
It's
I really
gonna
don't
be,
know what to think of it.
it's gonna be tough because like the name before the dissolving of the company had a really good name behind it, but now it's like kind of toxic a little bit. But if they can turn it around and build, like the first thing they need to do is work heavily on the tech and build a new engine and new system. And this guy with his Havoc experience, maybe he can do something with that, and like
Right.
pull his resources to make that stuff happen. But they need to make sure that's in good shape. And I think like The Wolf Among Us would be a great starting point for them because that was such a good
Yeah.
Telltale game.
It's been so long now. Like, you might as well jump into it now.
I heard stories the other day that Gearbox would love to see more Tales from the Borderlands.
Oh.
So I'm curious to know if with this happening, maybe they'll sign them on to do more of that. So I think that would be pretty interesting. I mean, not pretty interesting, like extremely interesting.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man.
So yeah, it's pretty wild. Like there's a lot happening here. But yeah, so Telltale's back, and we'll see where things go in the next couple of years with that studio.